Listen, where does Mike Babcock go with the lines? This is what we've been trying to discuss all morning. Do you think he tosses them in a blender and sees what comes up, or do you think it's a slight tweak here, a slight tweak there?
Well, can University of Toronto assistant coaches clear waivers?
Greatest face-off man ever, according to Ron McLean.
I am available.
I would suspect it's going to be a lot like the start of the season was when they were 3-3 out on that, or 2-2 out on that fourth line. I think he'll start with something and he'll see how it works, and we'll go for there. I would suspect that nothing is set in stone, and they're going to move guys around. And I think the interesting one, just because I'm fascinated to see it, is, do certain guys get double shifted? Does Matthews see double duty? Does, your third line center right behind Tavares, does he see double duty? And, guys like Shore and Spezza, how much more responsibility do they get? I think everything's open. And knowing Babcock's history, I think he's going to be a little bit like a mad scientist. And just because you see one thing 1 minute doesn't mean you're going to see that the next minute.
Elliotte Friedman is with us on leadoff, and our NHL insider is for McAlpine Ford in Aurora.
What do you think the chances are of a Nylander experiment at center again this year? Because I know they had him a little bit last year at times. You think that's a possibility?
I'm wondering if we're going to see that too. The thing that I was thinking about that is Nylander is starting to go this year. Like he's doing pretty well. Not he's still. I still think there's more for him to give, but he's been better after what last year was, and I wonder how much of a concern there is to taking him off the line when he's going. But, desperate times call for desperate measures, right? I wouldn't be surprised, but to me, Mike, what their biggest question is now that he's off to a better start, are you taking him off Matthews' line? That's what I'm sure they're looking at.
Now the question is, do they have the depth? Because you sign the top four for that amount of money. You don't really have the depth. They didn't go out and get anybody else. Backup goaltender, fifth and sixth defense, seventh defense. Is depth an issue now as soon as you see? Because we talk a lot about it.
Well, I just think that's going to be an issue all year. I mean, it's, if this had happened when, Dermott and Hyman were healthy, they're not coming back yet. I mean, it would have been really fascinating because they would have, in that situation, they're going to be right up against it. And, to be perfectly honest, I should have mentioned Gauthier. I didn't mention him. He's the guy who's actually, I don't know if there's a guy of all the depth players who's had a better start than him. He had that fantastic game in Detroit last Saturday. If anybody has deserved an opportunity to play a little bit more among a lot of those guys, he's probably the guy. He looks like a totally different player. Now, I don't know if his ceiling is any higher than it has ever been, but his game has certainly been better. But, yeah, I mean, absolutely, this is going to challenge their depth. There's no question about it. And, Darryl Walker, when he was the coach of the Raptors, him and I couldn't stand each other, but he had one great line. One man's injury is another man's opportunity. And this is going to be a chance for someone, and someone has to grab it. I mean, the thing is, you can't really go out and get anybody because he's coming back and you're right at the cap. So, you take a look at these situations. Whenever somebody gets hurt, everybody likes to say, oh, well, you can just go in more into long-term injury if you want. That's only if the guy is not coming back. Tavares is. So you probably just have to grin and bear it and see where you go.